So let's go for
This call is now being recorded.
today's session. Same, we'll continue in the last class. We discuss about what do you mean by algorithms, definition of an algorithm, characteristics of algorithm. Can anybody tell me what are the important characteristics of algorithm? Yes, Amma? Can anyone please tell me the characteristics of an algorithm? Yes? Anyone? Yes, Amma?
Input output effectiveness, definiteness, and finiteness.
Very nice, Amma. Nice. Continue. Input, output. Every function will have input, output. Fine. Second characteristic is
Finiteness,
finiteness.
definiteness, and
Okay.
effectiveness.
Very good. So finiteness indicates what? Every
The
algorithm should stop somewhere. That means every algorithm should have finite number of instructions and the execution should stop somewhere. Okay, now it should not continue infinite times. Okay, and the third characteristics which you said is what? Unambiguity. Okay, that means what?
yes, yes.
You should not have ambiguous statements in your algorithm or instructions.
Confusion should
Ambiguous.
not be there.
Yeah, very good. Confusion should not be there. That means if I say, come on, X, you add some value, 6 or 7. Last example, 6 or 7 to X means you only are in confusion state whether to add 6 or to add 7. No clarity. So such an instruction should not be there. So these are all what the main instructions about or main characteristics of an algorithm. And we also even learned about the pseudocode. Can anybody tell me what is pseudocode? How it is different from an algorithm? Algorithm is nothing but what, sir? It is expressing purely in English like language. Okay, but what about the pseudocode, sir? It's a
It
combination
is
of
a combination of natural and high level language.
excellent. It's a combination of both natural language instructions as well as some programming language constructs. So commonly used programming languages where everybody knows is what's a C-like languages, C and its descendant languages like a C++, Java like. Okay. So using these programming language related constructs plus the natural language instructions together we call them as what? Pseudocode. So we also discuss about few pseudocode related instructions, right? Then comes when you are writing an algorithm, are you going to directly implement the algorithm? We know that it is not good practice. When we are writing an algorithm, sorry, when we are having certain problem and problem related steps, when we know we are not going to directly implement in any of the programming language unless and until if it is small. If a program related instructions are very lengthy or very large number of instructions are there, then none of us are going to directly implement them in any of the programming languages. Instead of that, what we do, we try to write the algorithm, and after writing the algorithm, then we try to find out the time and space complexity of the algorithm, okay, through one of the asymptotic analysis. Then if we feel that the algorithm is taking less time and less space, then find the same algorithm, we directly convert them into one of the programming languages instruction, okay, or we directly implement it another way, we can say. So this is what about the general practice, that before we implement any program related instructions or problem related set of instructions into program, we write the algorithm, then we analyze the algorithm. So algorithm analysis plays very important role. So related to that, how can we analyze them? Do we have any tool? Means yes, sir, we have a random access machine model is there, in which we try to calculate the number of primitive operations. So and what are the total number of primitive operations we got, it itself shows the running time of an algorithm. So how to calculate the primitive operations, that also we discussed in the last class. So the primitive operations are the operations which are independent of programming language conditions. That means for any programming language, the time taken for that particular instruction remains same. So in that case, that instruction is said to be what, sir? primitive instruction. Such a primitive instructions, how many are there that we calculate, and the total number of primitive operations equal to the running time of that particular algorithm. Okay, so that's what that RAM model. And how to calculate, we have seen that assignment is one also taken as one primitive operation. Array indexing is one primitive operation. Comparison, single comparison itself is one primitive operation, and a function call is one of the primitive operations. So likewise, how to calculate the return value is also taken as a primitive operation. So these are the number of primitive operations, how we can calculate that we have seen in the last class. We have taken an example of calculating the array max algorithm. So we wrote array max algorithm, and related to array max algorithm, okay, how many primitive instructions are there, that also we have calculated. And upon calculating, we came to know that there are two answers we got it. One is minimum number of steps, okay, and the other one is our minimum number of primitive operations is one answer we got, and the other one is maximum number of primitive operations is another answer we got it. So that minimum number of operations itself is called what, sir? Best case analysis, and maximum number of operations is called as worst case analysis.
Worst case.
Okay, and in between, suppose if you go for the average, then the value whatever we are going to get is called as what? Average case analysis. So these are the three ways that the algorithm analysis can be made. Either best way we can express it, or worst way, or both sometimes, or instead of them we go for sometimes average. Average, generally what we do means, if some instructions are taking more time, some instructions are taking less time, that means what, that the instructions are varying. In that case, what we do, we take the average of the overall instructions. So whatever the average value we got it, that itself we take it as an average time complexity of that particular algorithm. And today, now we are going to go for one more flavor of algorithms. So when we talk about algorithms in the last class, we have seen the simple algorithm. Now today we are going to analyze recursive algorithms. So our today's topic is that. So what do you mean by recursive algorithm? Means, we know recursive program, what's a recursive, what's a function, we learned already in C language. The same definition we can implement it for the algorithms also. An algorithm which calls itself is called as a recursive algorithm. Provided that the recursively, when we are calling an algorithm, that algorithm or that sub algorithm should be of some smaller size. Okay, so every sub algorithm which we are generating it and calling should be smaller than its previous or its parental algorithm. That is what the main criteria. And when we are doing like this, the sub algorithm or sub will reach to a stage which we call it as a base case. So once if the algorithm is reached to a base case, no need to go again and again for recalling the algorithms. Okay, so there the recursive call will stop. So that means, to stop the recursiveness, every algorithm should have a base case, okay, which is small enough that the algorithm can solve directly without recursion. So this is what about the recursive algorithm. We learned, don't get confused, it is nothing but your recursive functions which we already dealt in C language. And to analyze running time of recursive algorithm, we have to construct the recursive equation with the help of some mathematical model. So the following I have given in recursive, what's an equation for recursive max, means in a given array we have to calculate the maximum element, provided that this time the algorithm which we are writing should be a recursive algorithm. So thus the algorithm will take like this. The recursive formula or a mathematical formula for that algorithm is what written below, sir. Here is it. So what I have written is here, if T of n is the time, or if the T of n is my function T of n, then it is equal to 3 if what's a n is exactly equal to 1. Otherwise, it is equal to T of n minus 1 plus 7 if n is greater than or equal to 2. So this is what about mathematical formula, and we learned this in discrete structure summa. Okay, and in detail how to solve this recursive relation, there are 3 different methods are there. So that 3 different methods we'll definitely learn when we talk about what's a divide and conquer approach in algorithms. But till now, just we remember that how we can write the recursive relation, mathematical recursive relation for recursive algorithms. So this is what the recursive version of the max algorithm. The same in a previous class, we learned about how we can calculate the maximum element in an array. The same algorithm only, but that algorithm is now designed and converted into a recursive algorithm. So here again the algorithm is taking A and N, where A is the name of the array and N is the size of the array, and N should be minimum 1. N should have minimum, that means N should be greater than or equal to 1. It should have at least one element, I mean to say. And the output of this algorithm, what the output that we are going to get from this algorithm is the maximum element in that array A of N elements. So now let us see the recursive version of that one. What I'm stating is, if n is equal to 1, means what? Array itself is having only one element. So when an array is having one element, that itself is a maximum element. So what we do in that case, simply we return that zeroth element, because we decided that our index always we starts from 0. So that only one element is existing at the zeroth location, the same single element we return it. This is the base case here. This is what? The base case. If this base case is not true, that means if we array is having more than one element, in that case we return the maximum between the two elements. What are the two elements? Means one element is recursive max, means here is what the recursive call. Here is what we are calling the same algorithm recursively by reducing the n value here. Initially, when we call the array, we know it is holding n elements. Now, the same algorithm we are calling, but this time we are passing n minus 1 number of elements. That means one element we reduced it. So, whatever the return value for this particular recursive call that we are going to get, that value, comma, the n minus 1th element. That means what? The last element of the array. So, between these two, whichever is maximum, that value we return to the algorithm. So this is what the recursive algorithm for maximum, finding the maximum element in an array. So this algorithm, what we do, we'll try to analyze it, whether it is correct or not, by writing and tracing it through an example. So let us go for this. Let me write the algorithm first here. I wrote that algorithm is recursive REC max. In short, I am writing a because I have to maintain the space. Initially a comma n that we pass, and here if n is equal to 1, then what we do, we simply return a of 0. Return RET, return a of 0. Else what we do, we return, okay, the maximum of rec max, that is recursive call of max, by passing a comma n minus 1 number of elements, comma a of n minus 1. So I have rewritten that same this time. Now what I will do, let me trace it by taking a counter example. So when I'm taking a counter example, assume that my array is having 3 elements. Say my array is having 3 elements. So let me assume that array. So here is my array A. So the 3 elements are 5, 7, and 12. This was the 0th element, the first element, this was the second element. Intentionally, I have taken that worst case where the maximum element is my last element. So now what do we do? Initially, when we are calling this array max, A is this array name and the size of the array is 3. So n is right now for me is 3. First time when I am calling. Now we'll get into the body and we'll verify whether the condition is correct or not. According to the condition, n is 3, which is not correct. That means it is false. So therefore, so it will not return that 0th element. Rather, it will execute this statement. As per the statement is concerned here, it is nothing but maximum of rec max, recursive max, the name of the algorithm, comma a comma, what is n minus 1? 2, because actual n is 3, but when we are calling recursively, we are reducing one element from it, and a of n minus 1. Can anybody tell me what is a of n minus 1? Yes, Amma.
12.
12. Very good. That is what n is 3, 3 minus 1. Current call, when you are calling current, at the current situation, n is 3. So wherever we have n, there we have to simply substitute 3 values. We will get the resultant value. So n means 3 minus 1, it is 2, comma. A of n minus 1 is what? A of 3 minus 1, which is 2. And A of 2 is nothing but 12. So thus, by passing recursive call comma 12, these two elements, what are the maximum among these two we have, that we are going to return. So that means from here we are calling the recursive call. So we made a recursive call here. So we are coming back here, rec max, this time array comma n is what? 2, Sarama. For me now this time n is 2. So for me n is 2. Begin. So if n is equal to 1, then return A of 0. So return A of 0.
False.
Yeah, it is false. So where it will go? It will go to return max of what is that? Rec max of
A comma 1.
n minus 1. What is this time? The n which is holding n is 2
1.
this time. Remember.
Yeah.
So 2 n minus 1 is 1, as you said. Comma A of n minus 1. Again, n is 2, n minus 1 is 1. So that means A of 1. What is A of 1? Anybody already
7.
have taken the arena? 7. So by passing the recursive call comma 7, the value 7, we are calling once again the recursive algorithm. So we go back here. Once again we call rec algorithm, rec max algorithm, third time, by passing A comma n minus 1, that is 1, A comma 1. And again when we verify this time, if n is equal to 1, then return A of 0.
5.
So here n is 1 and we are comparing with 1, the condition is true. Because of condition true, it returns A of 0. So what is A of 0 as per the example array which we have taken? 5.
5.
So it returns, this is nothing but 5. So it returns 5. Now where this 5 will go, Amma? Here is what the base case is encountered. Because of base case is encountered, directly the return statement will encounter. It will not go to the next return, Amma. The control will go back to caller. Who is the caller of this method? If this is my calling, who is the caller? From here we called it. That's what arrow mark I made. So this here in this place, the 5 will be replaced. So upon replacing the 5, what we have here, the statement become return max of all of you 5. ఇక్కడ ఏం రిటర్న్ వచ్చింది? కాలర్ నుంచి 5 వచ్చింది,
5.
కామా 7. సో హూ ఇస్ మాక్సిమం అమంగ్ 5, 7 అమ్మా?
7.
7. So return 7. Now this return 7 will return where, Sarama? Here, because from
Previous
here we
one.
called it. Yeah, from previous one, the parent of this particular call. If this is my Kali, the caller of this one is here. So from here we called it. So therefore, this value called maximum 7, whatever that, is replaced here. Now we have return. Okay, what it is, sir? Array return value is 7.
7.
And already we have how much? The second element 12.
12.
Among these two, which one is maximum? Maximum of 7,
12.
12. 12 will be returned. So this is what about how the algorithm is designed. Okay. Yes, sir. So you take any algorithm, whether it is a best case algorithm, that means if it is a beginning element itself is a maximum element in that case, or any case you verify, it will work. I mean, this algorithm will work. So that means correctness algorithm is, we can say it is correct. So correctness is also one of the what's that important characteristics of an algorithm. Fine. Now how we have written the what's a recursive mathematical relation? How we got when n is equal to 1, the tn will take n number of, so 3 number of primitive operations, or otherwise it will take the primitive operations of t of n minus 1 plus 7. How we got this recursive means, let us see. Since it is a recursive relation, so what we do, we have to identify base and non-base cases. This value 3, all of you, the value 3 is what? Base case related. Okay, Namma? N is equal to when n is 1, then the number of primitive operations is equal to 3 and rasar gada, that itself is what? Base case. So the base case we should get 3, And for the non-base case or recursive case, we should get it as t of n minus 1 plus 7. How it is possible? Let us see. Okay, Nama, all of you. So what is the base case here?
3.
How many instructions are there?
Assignment, return, indexing. Assignment,
Very good.
return, indexing.
Straightforward. It's a straightforward. How simply we can calculate. In the last class, we defined it. Check properly every primitive operation. So if n is equal to 1, here n is equal to 1 is a comparative statement. So for comparison, I told you it is one primitive operation. So there n is equal to 1 is equivalent to one primitive operation. Then second one is a of 0. We are returning a of 0. So that means what? Array indexing has to be made. Then only the 0th element will be fetched. So array indexing itself is, again, I told you that it is equal to one primitive operation. So a of 0 is one primitive operation. So till how many are there now? N of 0 is one primitive operation. A of 0 is second primitive operation. So 2 are there. And that a of 0, whatever that value is fetched, that we are returning it. So the return statement also is equivalent to one primitive operation. So total how many are there, Amma? Primitive operations. How many?
3.
3. So that's what the number of primitive operations in the base case when n is equal to 1 or 3. That's what, by observing that only, I have written the recursive mathematical equation like this. If n is equal to 1, then number of primitive operations are 3. Now, coming to the non-primitive operations, coming to the non-recursive case, the number of primitive operations, how many I told you? It is equal to t of n minus 1 plus 7. Otherwise case. Otherwise means if n is greater than or equal to 2, or if n is greater than 1, the other way. Now, how we can calculate this one, sir? What is your non-base case? Anybody in your algorithm? Where is your non-base case?
Return max, recursive max, that is non-base case.
Nice. Return max of recursive max a of a comma n minus 1 comma a of n minus 1. So this total instruction is called what? Non-recursive case. Now this non-recursive case is equal to t of n minus 1 plus 7. How it is? First of all, recursively when you are calling, where we are calling the recursion, let me write it on the board if you want. I mean on the line, this one. So let me rewrite that one. Return max of rec max of a comma n minus 1 comma a of n minus 1. A of n minus 1 is element, and rec max of a comma n minus 1 is a recursive call. So here we are calling the same algorithm recursively by reducing how much? Because my original problem is right, Amma. My original problem, I told you, when we have passed n as my input, then it is denoted by t of n. And second term when we are calling, or recursively next term when we are calling, at every call, how many elements we are reducing it here? We are reducing n minus 1. So therefore, if rec max of a comma n, when this is the original algorithm, when it is denoted by t of n, then this reduced same algorithm obviously can be expressed as t of how much? N minus 1, because number of elements are n minus 1. When if it is n, then we denoted it t of n. Now this time it is n minus 1. Therefore, obviously it will take t of n minus 1. So therefore, it is denoted by t of n minus 1 plus. Now tell me 7. How we got 7? Can anybody?
So return, calling the function again. We are comparing a comma n minus 1 and a of n minus 1.
Amma, we'll do one thing. Return is one statement. Okay, one primitive plus. Next,
Calling the function max.
Very good. Because every function call is one primitive operation, so we added one more. Fine. Then
so we
assume
are
that
comparing
we
a
are
of n
calculating.
minus 1.
No, what I'll do for your simplicity, I'll say that max of returning one value from 2. say whatever the two values are there, n1 comma n2, to return one of them, we are saying max. This itself assume that it is taking one primitive operation. So I'm adding one here because it's a method. So when we call max algorithm, the max algorithm will simply compare whichever is maximum, that will be returned. So since it is also one of the function calls, so it will take, say, one primitive operation plus. Then comes, tell me, till now we got 3, but I said it is 7.
Indexing, sir.
Okay, what we are doing here? Okay, very good. Array indexing.
Array of
But before
n-1.
array index, okay. But before array indexing, see carefully, we are doing some subtraction here. Some arithmetic operation we are performing by subtracting 1 from n. Am I right? Okay, Namma?
Yes,
All
Yes,
of you.
sir.
sir. Yes,
So
sir.
this arithmetic operation is one primitive operation. After performing n minus 1, suppose if n is 6a, so 6 minus 1 will become 5. So for calculation purpose, we have taken it as one primitive plus. Now once if it is become 5, we have to fetch the a of 5, fifth element of the array, that is sixth element of the array. From array we have to fetch it. So that itself is again one primitive operation. That is nothing but indexing, array indexing. But before indexing will take place, some subtraction operation will perform. So that means indirectly in this single statement itself, we are having how many primitive operations? Yes, Amma. How many are there?
2,
Array
sir.
indexing, but before 2, Amma, because before indexing, some subtraction operation has to be performed. So that's what about the 2. And then comes what? Then comes one more 2.
Return will have 1.
Return will have 1. Fine. So let me write here, as you said, t of n minus 1 is recursive call function name, and this one is say in the function call, fc function call, and this is what return value, and this one not n minus 1. What is this, Amma? Oh, max calculation of our calling max method. And this 2 is nothing but array indexing, that is a of n minus 1. Now what is left here? Recursive call. But before that, here again we are performing n minus 1, Amma. Am I right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So it will take how many, Amma?
2
One hai
again.
kada? One only.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
One only. Why one? Because already recursive call ఇక్కడ మనం యాడ్ చేసినాం అమ్మా 1. See మళ్ళీ చెప్తున్నాను, forget about this one. This one is function call. That's what rec max. So already we consider the function call, and this is what return value. This is what max algorithm call, function call again. This 2 is array indexing and subtraction, and here this one is within function call. Before calling the function, again we have to perform some subtraction. That one is what here. So how many total we got? T of n minus 1
7.
plus, is that 7? No, we didn't
6
get
plus
7, we got
1
6.
return 7.
No, return అయిపోయిందమ్మా, don't get confused. Return is over already. See, here only will it. This return statement is one primitive. Max call is function call కనుక one primitive. One primitive. N minus 1 calculation is one primitive, followed by recursion call. So is what, sir? One more primitive. So 1 plus 1, 2 primitives. And then here is what? Subtraction is one primitive operation, array indexing is 1. So 2. So total how many? 1 plus 1 plus 2 plus 2. Total how many? 6 only.
6, sir.
But I got it as 7. Why 7? Where we are missed? What? Which instruction we missed? Anyone? Shall I go to the algorithm? You may get an idea. Here is what algorithm.
Yes, sir.
Where we missed. See,
Sir,
this-
we would be reaching base case now, sir. We would be considering the base case
first of
at one
all,
point.
right, Amma, if condition has to be verified, then only you will come to this return statement, na? Return max of recursive max a comma n minus 1 will come to this statement only after verification of n is equal to 1, whether we are in base case or we are not in base case. When you are not in base case, we go to this max return statement. So that means there the condition has to be verified for both true case as well as false case. N is equal to 1 అనే condition verify చేయన్నా వద్దా? We have to verify the condition, and if it is false, then we come to this T of n minus 1 plus 6. So thus n is equal to 1, the comparison is equal to 1 primitive operation that we missed it. So that's what we have to add here. So in that total addition, 6 plus how many? Plus 1. This one is if
One.
n is equal to 1, checking the condition. If this is false, then we come to this particular one. Then we come to this total statement. And for this total statement, it is T of n minus 1 plus 6. So therefore, since this is single statement of comparison, we will take one primitive operation. So this 6 plus 1, total how many? T of n minus 1 plus 7. Okay, Namma? Okay, Namma, all of you. So this
Yes,
what
sir.
about how one can write the what's that number of primitive operations for a recursive call. Okay, and come to the solution to this one. Don't worry, the solution will solve it because we don't know what is T of n minus 1. Amma, are you getting, all of you? It is not that straightforward. We learned already recursive algorithms, how we can solve them. Substitution is one of the simplest methods. Am I right? So, and one more methods are, I mean, two more methods are there. Graphical method is there, and one more important and interesting method. I'm unable to recall that name. But anyhow, these are the three methods to solve the recursive algorithm we have. So that all the three methods we'll discuss it when we talk about divide and conquer procedures. That means what, particularly in divide and conquer, main algorithms are matrix multiplication and what do you say, quick sort, merge sort. These are all the algorithms which comes under the category of divide and conquer. So when we discuss there how we can write the recursive relation for each such an algorithm, and after writing, how can we solve that? I told you, master method is what, the third method which I told you. Substitution method, master method, and graphical method. Three methods are there. We can adopt any of them to solve this recursive equations. Simplest is what? Substitution method. So we go on, substitute the n value until it reaches towards a base case. Once it reach to base case 1, if n minus 1 become 1, there we directly replace that value with 3. So with the help of that, we can easily solve. మీకు కావాలంటే సబ్స్టిట్యూషన్ నుంచి ఇక్కడ ఈజీగా చేయొచ్చమ్మా మీరు. T of n minus 1 plus 7. నెక్స్ట్ ఇటరేషన్ లో T of n minus 1 will become T of n minus 2 plus 7 plus 7. Are you getting my point, all of you? So the 7 will repeat how many times? N minus 1 times, amma. If you want, roughly I'll show you the substitution method of solving the recursive equation. It goes like this. So starting we have T of n minus 1 plus 7. So the next time this will become T of n బదులు ఒకటి తక్కువ చేసి రాయడం. So n minus 1 is n minus 1 minus 1 is n minus 2 plus 7 plus 7. This 7 is the above one. This total is what? N minus 1. And this total is what? T of n. Now again here T of n minus 2 we have to do, which is nothing but T of n minus 3 plus 7 plus 7 into 2. This 7 into 2 is this one, and for this T of n minus 1, this one. And likewise, if I one more simplified, T of n minus 4 plus 7 plus 3 times of 7. 7 into 3 times of 7. It will go like this, and the time will come where it will become T of 1. T of 1 plus this will become what, sir? 7 times of n minus 1. Because n minus 1 times will be vanished, one time will be left, and that one time will become T of 1. This is what about substitution model of solving the recursive. Now it will become 7 times of n minus 1 plus T of 1 is base case, which is equal to 3. Therefore the total time is nothing but 7 and minus 7 plus 3. Roughly it is how much, amma? Minus 4 kada? Okay, this is what about the number of primitive operations of recursive algorithm. Okay, we have seen the almost same type of answer for non-recursive version of ArrayMax previously. Okay, that slides I have deleted already. So hope that you understand, all of you, amma. Any doubt in this? Okay, so the same steps I explained it here. Now about the remaining part, Amma, let me take tomorrow only. Of course, the content is ready, but before that, just brief an idea about that. Next topic is very simple: asymptotic analysis, Amma. Our next topic is asymptotic analysis. The asymptotic analysis of an algorithm refers to the definition of mathematical bounds, Amma, or framing of its running time performance. In simple terms, to say that asymptotic notations indicates about the bounds of a particular function. ఈ టర్మ్ అనేది మీరు విన్నారమ్మా, వెదర్ యూ నో ఆర్ నాట్, దిస్ టర్మ్ ఆల్రెడీ లాంగ్ బ్యాక్ వి హర్డ్ అబౌట్ దిస్, వి ఈవెన్ learned about this also. Asymptotics, where you learn this word, amma, anybody? We all passed from that syllabus only. Now where, in which class we learned the concept called asymptotics, the word called asymptotics? Can anybody remember?
Sir, in hyperbola.
Excellent. In parabola, hyperbola, and ellipse, when we learn these three things, there at that time we also talk about asymptotics. Okay, so asymptotics are nothing but the limiting position of a line with respect to a curve, okay, when it is calculated on infinite axis. If you talk about infinite axis called xy axis, in that case, when a line is approaching, okay, towards zero with respect to a curve, when a line is approaching towards zero with respect to a particular curve, is called as asymptotic of that particular curve. So this is what that we learned long back in parabola like concepts. So the same here also, the asymptotics are nothing but one type of limiting behavior or limiting positions. Okay, so this limiting position we calculate it when the value enlarges or increases. So to explain more clearly about this concept of asymptotics, I have taken a function called n square plus 3n. In this one, the n becomes very large. Suppose if n is approaching infinite, large means approached value. If n becomes infinite, the asymptotic, the 3n becomes insignificant compared to n square. ఇప్పుడు మీరు ఏం చేయండి అంటే you do one thing, అమ్మ, starting you take n value starting from what's 1 to, you go on increase the value 1, then next time you take 10, then next time you take 100, then again you take 1000, likewise you go on, go for it, and observe the two terms. Which two terms? One is n square, the other one is 3n. You observe the two terms, n square and 3n, with different values of n. Maybe n is equal to 1, then next time say 10 for simplicity, and then you go for 100. Like this you go on increasing. When n increases, okay, then when n increases, then n square term also increases significantly comparatively 3n, and 3n becomes insignificant with respect to n square. A time will come where n square will give a very big value and 3n still remains there only. A simple example, amma, 1 తీసుకోండి. What is 1? Substitute in n square. What is 1? 1 only. And then in 3n it is 3. All of you observe carefully. Between these two, when I am taking n is equal to 1, n square term is giving 1 and 3n term is giving 3. So here 3n is larger than n square when n is 1. Now slowly what I will do, I will increase the n value. So when I am increasing n value, say n is equal to 10 when I take, then in that case, or if I take n is equal to 2, there also n square will become what's 4 and 3n will become 6 if n is 2. Likewise, if n is 5, then n square is 25 and 3n is what's 15 only. So there n square is slowly increasing, and if n is 10, then n square will become 100 and 3n is simply 30. And if suppose n square is 100, then 100 square is what? I think 1 lakh, okay, or 10,000, and 3n is very simple, it's 300 only. So that means what? Insignificant. As when n is approaching and very large, when n is taking a larger value, then in that case the term called 3n will become insignificant compared to n square. So thus the function f of n is said to be asymptotically equivalent to n square. So there the word I'm using called asymptotically. ఇలాంటి కేసెస్లో in such a cases we say that f of n asymptotically equivalent to n square as n approaches to infinite, means in taking more values, okay, bigger value. This often written as n approximately equal to n square and read as f of n is asymptotic to n square, approaching to n square. So whenever we talk about asymptotics, there also, if you recall that intermediate syllabus, there also the definition of asymptotic, just now I defined it, is similar to approaching value only. Here also the same thing is what we stated. And this asymptotic analysis refers to the computational running time of any operation or any algorithm. So that's what we take it as our analysis for computing the running time of any algorithm. And that computational calculations can be performed in 3 different ways. Already we discussed it, called best case, average case, and worst case. Where worst case is maximum time required for a program execution when n increases. When approaches to infinite, then worst case time is what? At most, how much time the algorithm is going to take? At most, the word called at most we use. And best case is the minimum time required for a program to execute when n is large. That's what approaching to infinite again. That means what? Minimum number of instructions, minimum time, how much it takes is called as best case. And average is, I told you already, when fluctuations take place, some instructions are taking some time, so some other instructions are taking more time. So there calculating all of them will become difficult. So there we take average time. So that average time requirement for a program execution is called as average case. So these are the common 3 cases, but we also told you amortization analysis is also there. That also we discuss it. This is what about the concept of asymptotic analysis. And come to the asymptotic notations, there are 3 notations are there. Big O notation commonly, of course, total 5 are there, but we are going to discuss here 3 only, which are commonly used. One is big O notation, the other one is big omega notation, and the theta notation, big theta notation. Big omega is a what's that? Upper bound. It indicates upper bound, and big omega denotes a lower bound, and big theta indicates about the average bound. So these are the 3 notations we use it for asymptotic analysis. And here, as per the definition, okay, each one where what it actually indicates here. So if we talk about the big O notation, I'm going for the big O notation. So as per the big O notation, f of n and g of n are the 2 functions defined for positive integers. Then f of n is big O of g of n. I repeat, f of n is big O of g of n. Okay, when f of n is less than or equal to some constant time of g of n for all n greater than or equal to n naught, where c and n naught are constants. So if this condition is existing, which condition? If f of n is less than or equal to c times of g of n. If f of n is less than or equal to c times of g of n, constant terms of g of n, then we say that f of n is big O of g of n. Okay, that means asymptotically approaching to g of n. F of n asymptotically, okay, approaches to g of n. That's what about the big O notation. If this is my big O notation, this itself indicates graphically like this. And this particular condition is true when n is greater than or equal to n naught for some constant c. C is constant, and when n crossing n naught value, then in that case, okay, we say that f of n is big O of g of n. And that is what here shown, big O in the middle of the graph. Observe carefully, f of n may be initially like this. If this is my axis, and here initially maybe f of n is going like this. Okay, but g of n has started somewhere here, but later it has become maximum. So this is what my g of n, and this is what my f of n. this g of n is not directly g of n, c times of g of n. So upon comparison of these two, what we found is that at this time, at this point is n is equal to n naught. At this point and above, that is n greater than or equal to n naught, your f of n, is less than or equal to, f of n is less than or equal to c times of g of n. So, but before that, observe carefully, f of n is more than g of n. Before these points, f of n is greater than g of n. After this point and above, whenever that n is increasing towards infinite, then in that all cases we are finding that f of n is greater than or equal to c times of g of n. So that means at most this f of n takes this much time, these many instructions. So at most case, maximum case, upper limit case. So that's why generally the big O notation, generally we use it to denote about the upper limit of an algorithm. Similarly, the same other two we have taken, and the second one is big omega when f of n is greater than big omega. So big O is f of is less than or equal to c times of g of n, whereas big omega is when f of n is greater than or equal to c times of g of n. That is what's a minimum one. Lower bound. This indicates the lower bound. Big omega indicates the upper bound, and big O indicates the upper bound, and big omega denotes the lower bound. And big theta, when it lies between the two different intervals of c times of g of n, c1 times of g of n, c2 times of g of n, when c1, c2 are constants. So these three are what explained here. Okay, so big omega, here you observe that c times of g of n is less than f of n after n greater than or equal to n naught. Okay, for all values of n greater than or equal to n naught, we are observing that f of n is greater than c times of g of n. So there c times of g of n will become the lower bound for the function f of n. And lastly, that big theta is what lies between, that f of n lies between c1 times of g of n, c2 times of g of n. So in that case, we write as big theta of g of n. So this is what about the three different asymptotic notations. Okay, Nama? So we'll continue in the next class about the remaining topics. Most probably we'll even start the both the stacks and queues at a stretch. We'll finish it. Okay. Thank you, all of you.
Okay, sir. Thank you,
If any
sir.
doubts are there, please
Yes,
post
sir.
in the WhatsApp group so that I can answer it. Chandrika madam. Hello, Chandrika madam.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank
Yes,
you.
sir.